Final question you should be asking is, how does it use language? We're going to have a quick look at a couple of the techniques that are used and can be used. Now, in terms of language of a newspaper article, they're fairly similar to a lot of styles of really formal language or colloquial language, depending on the style or format it's being written in. So it may use exaggerated or sensationalist choices of language, and particularly that word exaggerated goes hand in hand with sensationalist, as in it is exaggerated. It uses either emotional or figurative, metaphorical language, trying to get people to connect an emotion or a way of thinking with a figurative term, such as a metaphor. So, for instance, if you're thinking that they were quite happy, you can represent that through some sort of event that happened. And even though newspaper articles are, again, technically not supposed to do either of those things, they can come into an article, and they can certainly appear in such a way where you really do get the sense that they're trying to get people to feel a certain way and to connect with them in that way. Formal or colloquial style of language and reporting. Now, most newspapers are now focusing more on the colloquial style because it's, first of all, easier to read, and second of all, because it's more likely to connect with people and to really get them to adopt the message or really respond to the message of the article. But generally it should be a formal style where it just simply states the facts of what happened and does it in such a way that anyone throughout the world can read it. Puns or rhetorical questions in the headline. Often these are used, not so much rhetorical questions anymore, though they still do come up. But generally puns are now used a lot more in the headline, and again, it makes it catchy, it makes it stand out. And finally, a distinct layout or visual choice. Remember that a newspaper article is more than just the words on the page, it's also about the layout, how it's set out, how it gets people to read it. And if you're reviewing it, these points all come into comprehension as well, and particularly if you're trying to find these points of language, then you'd be looking for these sorts of terms, and you'd be looking at writing about what sorts of terms are used. And particularly if you're asked for use as a colloquial language, then you think about what language is unique to a particular group, what is part of their vernacular, what is part of their culture. So, and that will often happen depending on where it's written and who is written by. So in summary, you need to be, first of all, very, very critical of newspaper articles and actually think about them critically. Think about who the sources are, think about everything that is being written, and think about, is it valid or not. Ask questions about objectivity and sources. So again, really question whether or not the sources are reliable or unreliable. So use that test or those list of good or bad sources I mentioned before to check whether or not they are using quite valid sources or if they are being objective. And finally, analyze the article's purpose and language. And if you can do all of those things, if you can say yes it's biased or yes it's unbiased, yes that source is good, no that source is not good, I know what the purpose of the article is, it's to entertain, and I know how it's being communicated through colloquial language or formal language, then you know everything you need to know about a newspaper article and you're ready to attempt any kind of response at all. Otherwise, until next time, I'll see you later.